let me tell you about the rape game that I had to deal with having my DNA stolen on School Bus 22 by Susan Christie Airdsmith Halverson, who then became, connected with Jeff Horde, first with Mason County Sheriff's Department, then Maysville Police Department, then these people crushing my chest repeatedly to the point that I committed suicide. They claimed I had no right to take my own life because of their bullying, failing to take a statement in their effect of bullying. I told them that I had been raped. They said that because my behavior was so erratic, because of being chokeholded and that never happened, and then being drugged, that I was a liar. The Kentucky State Police, who were involved with raping me as a kid, not the particular member who called me a liar that I'm aware of, who had been involved with raping me as a child and in the circle jerk situation, called me a liar. A liar. So I felt I had nowhere to turn. Absolutely nowhere, especially with the medical professionals claiming, we think that it's inappropriate, your behavior. Well, you people are involved in covering human trafficking, so let me tell you about Christy Boggs and their goddamn medical company, including Primary Plus, and then contracting with, yep, you guessed it, Comprehend Incorporated, and their Moorhead satellite office with Kentucky State Police Post 8. Let me tell you about the fag entrapment sites, Pornhub and Xtube and a few other ones. I found Kentucky State Police hazing videos online with MSU students. No, I will not list sources. Like I said, Aaron Flack had a handgun and told the whole world. He didn't point it at me, but he was like, I got your shield laws right here, bitch. I thought, oh, really? Really? Well, anyway, I can remember Tiffany Prince being in T. Douglas's class that day that I felt my head shrinking. But who knows? Like I said, I got bludgeoned for no reason as a child, all because they had questions about their own people and the crimes they were committing, because if we wanted to talk about it, the brass ring would hurt us. So, I hate to say it, but El Chapo, I don't know him, never know him stating that law enforcement and politicians are the, modern day people forcing our hands. Well, I hate to say it, but it's pretty much true. I got bludgeoned, drugged, and then locked into their system, with them, putting guns in my side and all kinds of crazy intimidation, harassment tactics, like they were a shakedown gang organization. Talking about it publicly, they've threatened to kill me since I was 6 years old. I've committed suicide. I've been resuscitated. Their game is never ending. For them, it was ritualistic child abuse. It truly was. Trying to find anyone to help matters, especially with Deputy Mitchell's family being our tenants and reporting, what they found to be illegal. Well, let me tell you about Ryan Palmer destroying property and them not even asking if I'd like to file charges. He claimed one day that my 2005 or 6 F-250 that I had let him borrow just magically jumped down to first gear and it burnt the turbo up in it. Yeah, how nice. So let me tell you about wanting to file charges against Mason County Sheriff's Department and their family members who were fucking with us, and then them threatening us, we know what you're doing. Like I said, Deputy Mitchell's family, who had destroyed our property, were the ones who threw the Deputy Mitchell did, the Nathaniel Abercrombie story out, Oh, what about Nathaniel Abercrombie? You all go right ahead and keep tearing our shit up like you own this place. I would like to press charges. Is that so hard to believe? Now do you understand why they kept entrapping me into their mental health bullshit? Because I wanted to press charges against their people that were involved in my childhood rapes and everything else, and it was unacceptable because they didn't believe it. Well, that's not really my fault, is it? Quit sitting around all day bitching and complaining. Oh, I'll sit and bitch all I want to. What happened to me was wrong. Like I said, Tara Palmer called me one night because one of the other tenants was out acting crazy or something. I was in my nightgown. My nightgown. That's the type of person I am. I hate guns. What in the fuck do you expect me to do about a madman doing crazy shit with a gun? Call your fucking cousin on the Mason County Sheriff's Department if you have a problem. Just like with my situation with him at one point, that neighbor in question. I called Mason County Sheriff's Department, expressed threat to life. They didn't show up for hours. My mother called with me having a mental health crisis in my workplace working. Alcoholism is a covered disability in the workplace. Deputy Hull, right there in a heartbeat, honey. You best believe that. But they're afraid of me, but not Alfred Sims. I find that very hilarious. Very, very, very hilarious. That they would continue to, do their thing with me while raping me, claiming that I had been in some horrible car accident later in life because of my driving habits. Let me tell you, I never could drive. After I was bludgeoned, they forced me to use heavy equipment in human trafficking on their farm to help pay their bills. And you can ask Alice Hook when she had that, I think it was a 93 Mercury Cougar, coming up out of Dravo Carmoose. I think Aaron worked there back in those days. Dad had put me on that tractor with the front loader on it, like a fucking idiot. I mean, how sick were my parents to force me to do things to help them pay their debts when they had created and are allowed to be created so much physical damage? But let me tell you about my sister also punching me in the mouth anyway, and I know my mother remembers it, telling us to lick her clit, because guess what? She was part of the Wood Gollenstein little cover story. She worked for Foxwood Wood Nestle around, I think, 95 to 96 after all this stuff had happened. Oh, I remember their big shredder. Remember it quite well. They used to buy me a Happy Meal every day to satisfy my, hushness. Donald Wood's wife, Debbie. I knew you'd always turn out to be a rat. Yeah, your all's little secret bullshit is nothing but a load of shit. Everybody already knows it. That's why everybody thinks you're, too eccentric or whatever. Everybody can pick up on those things. Me talking about it is my form of trying to help myself heal. Sorry that other people don't like Tourette's syndrome and everything else in public places. Their physicians diagnosed it as the shits of the mouth, of which I got my ass handed to me quite well, but they stated men don't have rights to kids don't get kids don't have rights to men don't get raped. In the same heartbeat. So let me tell you about being forced to eat pussy as a gay man. That's more humiliating than being raped by men. Not that I enjoyed being raped or that I condone it. I definitely don't. It happened to me. But let me tell you, being forced to eat pussy was one of the most humiliating experiences I've ever been through in my life. And they refused to take statements. And guess who was chief deputy during, time frames? According to their own admissions, Stephanie Wood. Well, let me tell you about Andrew and his ugly mug. Let me tell you more about Mr. Baguki and Mrs. Brammer and Mrs. Woods Baker and quite a few of them. They don't like that. They don't like that at all. Let me tell you about Foxwood Wood Nestle buying me this cute little thing. Christmas tree with snowflakes in a globe. Bobby. So I bought them a beautiful crystal lotus. Oh well, we're giving you 30 days notice now that I've explained it. Hooray. Hooray. I didn't work hard enough according to these people. Debbie told me, if our mother was still around, she'd put you to work. What in the hell would you know? Your husband likes blowjobs. Oh well. Donald Elwood and blowjobs. John and blowjobs. Oh well. So let me tell you about Mason County Detention Center and their nonsense. And cop dick pic entrapment. Here, I can pull one of them up. Oh well. I want you. Let me make sure I shield it. Cop dick pic entrapment, honey. Oh well. They don't want to take those statements either. Oh well. Oh yeah. You know, they complained and complained and complained about it being a cannabis abuse addiction or something. In the Eastern State File, I can always pull those up and show you the annoyingness of their diagnosis. But look, registries don't do anything but allow people to know where others are. At least it gives people a legal leg to stand on for what they've been through. Here's me not even thinking about having a stroke. It takes so much energy just to try to keep it even. And they don't like that either. But of course, it's biblical. In the Bible, it talks about disabled people and eradicating the world of them, especially the mentally ill. It's a violation of civil rights and a hate crime. Tell me what you got in mind so I can say, yeah, yeah, yeah. He brought me a cup and I've ironed. Everybody asked if I liked it, so I said, yeah. Then he played me some band on his iPod. Kinda hit me kinda hippie, and I thought, no. But I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. He said, you wanna take a walk to the river, maybe cool off, maybe to the cabin. Good spot. And then he took my hand. So let me tell you about them crushing my skull and me being in so much pain with Mr. Boggs' wife's bitch company, saying, you know, you can't have gone through that. That never happened. So as I said, Patty Positek refusing oxygen therapy, saying no to Percocet because it's a controlled substance, but writing a prescription for Lyrica. Oh well. Did I fill it? Nope. Because I knew what it was. Look at this photo. The Judicial Conduct Commission said that those years weren't accurate, so obviously the ledger was lying. Oh well. Boo-hoo. Oh well. Oh, here's another thing about Mrs. Razor's, the Honorable Kim Razor's ties to the drug trade. She filed this against you. Oh well. No, no, no. So let me tell you about Orangeburg Volunteer Fire Department talking about their drugs and, the human trafficking with the tollers. Matt Lewis, one of their volunteers, it felt like he was cutting my dick off from left to right that night. But Deputy, now Detective Hull, didn't even bother to ask about the blood splatter looking shit on the walls. Oh well. It's a huge thank you to the homophobia and transphobia in that area causing me to kill myself. It was bullying. It was excessive force. They claimed that I was resisting when in reality I didn't even understand what they were doing. They had convinced me I was hallucinating and delusional. Like I said, rape was nothing but a delusion to them. Let me tell you about the conversion reparative therapy thing. They dehumanized me. You know how you train a dog with a pen? Well, they would literally do that. My father would do that to me. Just sit there and click his pen. Then, when the law enforcement brass ring perverts and their goddamn junkie kids that had been through it, see this? This is what you do if you see somebody you're attracted to or whatever. Don't touch yourself, don't touch them. So anytime you see a medical professional snap their gloves, that's normally what they're doing. It's horrifying, and that's conversion reparative therapy. It's pretty much a confidential program designed with other people that has been occurring for years and years and years. So when my tonsils exploded during my dick just fell in him drug search, yeah. Oh well, my mother called Mary Dawn Applegate Cassis. Let me tell you about MetaView. Most of us call it MurderView. One year, I think it was my senior year of high school, I was so sick. As I said, my parents had been poisoning me and I was being raped. One year, I went in there because I was so sick, I was afraid I was going to miss graduation. They said it was antibiotics and steroids, and I passed out. Something just didn't add up with that. And there were Randy and Cassandra Manning Patterson. Well, let me tell you about the Baptist Church. I was married into their music ministry in Lexington. Fayette County, Kentucky, where the cops ask if you're home alone. I went to Feinberg and Associates for therapy for a while, only for the therapist to fall asleep that the Pumpelly Network had brought in just for me. And that location is on East Maxwell, where the cops ask if you're home alone. So, if people want to question the validity of my story, just go back through the details. And now watch people come out of the woodwork and try to point their finger at me. Oh well. I wanted to sell when my father died. Worm, my brother-in-law, and the pussy of Gold, my sister, wouldn't allow it. Like my nails? Yeah, they're real. You cannot imagine how much they hated my appearance. Let me see if I can find the one photo you all can interpret. These posts are no one to specific. They're just to publicly document things, only for them to cry about that too. It'd probably be easier to search it this way. Every tailgate way out there was like, yeah, yeah. I like singing. To the point, because it was ritualistic child abuse, they left bleach on the counter in my cup and I drank it. It burned the hell out of me to the point I started vomiting blood. They gave me a piece of Wrigley's spearmint and told me to get over it. I did get a free ride on the ridge, that evening to just walk the cattle down for milking. So, huge thank you. Oh, this picture. You all interpret it. It's my masculine and feminine side. And notice the white light. I told the Christians that they could just consider it the devil masquerading as Jesus. Oh well. So let me tell you about Mason County Sheriff's Department and giving people permission to do home grows. I have the return to sender information on here somewhere too. So if they want to get me for entrapment, you all go right ahead. Honest to a letter, and they never liked that either. Let me tell you about when I came out in Mason County School District as bisexual, because I thought it would be less severe than being gay. That was another time I got poisoned, only for Susan Grayson, now in administrative records, to move right on up with her husband throwing books at students. Vicky Sapp, Patrick's family, giving my family a pat on the back. We just wanted to let you know he failed. My dad walked out of Randy Harris's office, smiling bigger than shit. Oh well. You killed him. No clue. Something about a Jack Russell Terrier. And now I feel something wrapping around my hip again. And it's your fault. Let me tell you how she throws on the crocodile tears for no reason and then just is so mean. If I'm not hard enough on myself, let me tell you what I thought to myself last night that I'm still punishing myself for. I was working for Teleperformance USA at home, and on break one day, I ran in here to start laundry, and I forgot to put the hose out during the summertime because I like to drain the water on the yard. I mean, in my opinion, it's a waste of water to just dump it down the drain. Anyway, I forgot to put the hose out, and I forgot to put it in the actual drain. And it leaked out all over this, whatever it is, floating floor. And now it's like peeling up, and I'm still punishing myself for that. But people think I don't feel guilty for anything. Massachusetts. California, New York, Nevada, Massachusetts. What in the hell do you people want from me? So let me tell you about having a gun and a knee put in my side. My neck being mashed till the vertebra was misshapen. One of the military doctors asked me, "What happened to your neck? You've been injured." You take it up with the Pumpellies and their sales teams, including Mason County Sheriff's Department and Maysville Police Department. Their version of Anthem? What fun. Oh well. One day, I had a question for Anthem. My father was like, "Don't call corporate." I'm calling corporate. I called Anthem corporate. I had some questions for them. Well, they had some questions for me. So after that, our premium was lower and we got a shit ton of money in stock from them. Oh well, so let me tell you that story about poor old Rick Pumpelly, Kenton Nantucker, the cabin in Brown County, Ohio, and the druggy, rapey situation in that area. Now they should understand why my physicians kept me sedated on opiate-based pain management. They didn't like it, instead calling me a drug addict after they had bludgeoned me with brain tumors and clots. Oh well. Let me tell you about Miss Carrie Desiree Cox trying to convince me I'm blind. I'm pretty sure I screenshotted the Facebook message she deleted. Only for the voyeurs to keep up there is no stop, drop, and roll in hell bullshit. Marty Voyeurs and Shauna, oh well, that's what they believe. There is no stop, drop, and roll in hell. So Carrie Cox, who practices Reiki, trying to convince me of the theories. Believe me, I've already been through this. Our home church tried to convince me Patrick, going into law enforcement, was Jesus, our Savior. And I wonder why that is. With my mother's side of the family, the Osborns being angels, and Donna Werline Osborn and tampons up bad little boys' butts. So let them argue it wasn't conversion reparative therapy and a hate crime. Oh, I think I need to delete a video. It says it only has 55 minutes left of recording time. I'm going to prison for a long time? Oh well. Oh well. So let me tell you about Chaplain Powell, Oldham County, Jefferson County over. His rapey family, Justin and John Mark. It's only cannabis. Well, apparently not. So let me tell you about forced drugging being a felony, especially when people are unaware of what they're being, dished out. Just like the date rape bars. The Last National Bank, the Crowbar, formerly known as the Last National Bank. Catherine Swope's now in social work for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Let me tell you about witnessing her during one of her drunken nights, getting her legs knocked out from under her until her head hit the concrete. Brianna Carter was another one, and then Julie, I forget what her last name is, and that happened in Brown County. So as I said, they jumped ship across the river. From everything I have observed, the meth comes from the Brown County area, and then the hydroponically grown cannabis in Mason County is laced with it. They call it Tinseltown. And the cops who fuck people for the drugs call that Pound Town. But then the Christians claimed, "You're hearing voices, the devil rhymes." Let them argue it's not a hate crime. Granted, my hearing is quite off. The ringing in my ears is enough to drive anybody crazy, especially when there's another noise that comes in and I try to interpret them. It's like, oh, it's just the water running. Like I said, this helps with my chronic pain, physical pain. Let me tell you the story of the University of Kentucky physicians that did that spinal tap. And then 3 days later, I woke up not being able to walk. After I got to their emergency room that third day, they let me lay there for 12 extra hours, trying to convince me it was nothing but a migraine. So, where's the imaging? Let me tell you what they said. They came in stating, "We don't know how you're still conscious. We don't know. You see this imaging? It's blood crushing your brain." And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you people. And that's when "you're nothing but a drug addict, you're nothing but a drug addict, you're nothing but a drug addict" started in yet again. After they did that spinal tap and I was on my way home that day in 2007, I think, maybe 8, I can't remember. I got as far home as Bourbon County Hospital, driving myself because my piece of shit family would not even do a thing for me, all the while crying about Donna. "I need a ride to Lexington for Remicade." Bonnie, "Russell wouldn't even come out here and fix my internet. Michael had to do it." Grow up. I made it as far as Bourbon County Hospital before dumping my purse, as they called it, and vomiting in it, having a stroke. Well, let me tell you, finish the story about the Spinal Tap. As soon as that resident, unsupervised, did it, he told me to get the hell out of the clean room, while the nurse lost a vial of blood. So let me tell you about unconstitutional blood searches. Coercion and entrapment, them claiming that cannabis is nothing but the evilness. Let me tell you why the Ohio physicians approved it, 3 of them, and why a Kentucky physician approved it. All for them to come at me repeatedly saying, we need your urine, we need your urine. Well, let me tell you about Paula Jolly and phlebotomy, Sandy Pompelli and her nursing degree, and Marilyn Scheidel and that goddamn lab at Metaview. Last time I was at Bob and Marilyn's, I got a freebie of cannabis. So let me tell you how upset I am with this medical gaslighting bullshit giving them cover for years. It's PTSD. I was raped. Them doing their knee thing is reminiscent of the conversion reparative therapy that I had to go through. I didn't have a choice. I was smothered I don't know how many times as a child, with my sister making weird statements like, Dad says it's time we start our own family, then her coming in and then complaining that I broke her necklace as she was trying to suffocate me. So because I was already working various jobs, either at Debbie Woods or Nan Kelly's, or I had to go to Traxel's and buy that bitch a brand new necklace after she had just tried to smother me to death. My family, no support whatsoever. My sister, one of the last Christmases at her house, told me, don't pick up ice cubes with your bare hands, while your son's hand is down his pants and now he's going to come touch everything. Yeah, my family, sickening. Absolutely sickening. Cameron Blau refused to believe my EPO and instead signed off on my sister's, shenanigans. So let me tell you about my sister punching me in the mouth for no reason when we would be sitting at home for no reason, telling us to lick her clit. Oh well. So as I said, Cameron Blau signed off on it. Look at the pictures of the property damage you did. As I said, law enforcement was coming into our home while my mother was up on God's mountain watching those spawns of Satan, threatening me for talking about what I was publicly. So let me tell you about them crushing me for no reason. My father was the biggest instigator and culpable in human trafficking. He would tell law enforcement who asked, he brought that shit home with him. No, my sister was a fucking fall-down drunk by sophomore year or junior year of high school. Sitting upstairs with her whiskey, probably from Kevin and Bonnie, crying about, don't ever let Dad get to you. Not that I'm making fun of her. Him taking care of business dirtied her band jacket the day I had to go in and pick it up. So don't let Dad get to me. Yeah, right. My family, they're sick. There's something wrong with them. I don't judge them. How can I? But at the same time, them using the judicial system against me for behavior in a legally defined disability that is covered, the same judicial system they had peddled me to, yeah, oh well. All the while, the teachers in the school district claiming, your sperm belongs to the women. You're not allowed to touch yourself. That's sick. If you're going to do it, the women own your sperm. Cheryl Litzinger, I remember her little lesson at Mason County Middle School about that disgusting crap. And just like with Sandra Hughes, asking my sister and her friends to do a video project called Transvestite Melodrama, but then complaining when I wrote a short story about 2 gay men getting married and adopting. Came true, didn't it? Oh well. Just like I've been doing this thing, people think I'm crazy. Doing one of my little things that helps me, and then reading about both pilots falling asleep flying a big airplane. Happens every day, right? Oh well. They saw you. And let me tell you about Miranda Rosenbaum and the knee. She said that my mother used to watch me masturbating while her and her friends flashback to grabbing me. Miranda Rosenbaum used to say that my mother watches me masturbate, and I thought, well, that's an interesting bullying tactic. It was on, forget what they called it, but we were supposed to mismatch our clothing or articles of clothing. Well, I wore a high-heeled boot and a tennis shoe. Mary Catherine Cropper, her husband Buddy, board of directors, Bank of Maysville. I'll tell you about the Bank of Maysville. Nan Kelly had a bank account with them. Mary Catherine Cropper that day told me, man, your hips are going to get messed up on coming out day. I thought, are they? Are they really? Shall I pull up your grandson's penis picture? Sitting and recalling, Jane Everts had the 94 DeVille. Mary Catherine Cropper's was a 95. Diane Horner's was a 92 or 3. 93, I think, last model year. The style I liked. Jane Everts, Nan Kelly, and whatever Mrs. Despain's first name was. Elevated emblems on the wheels. You all don't pay attention to the symbolism. You can ask Mrs. Boggs about the plan in Canada and being elevated